It's the summer of 1944. 6 weeks after D-Day, the Allied forces in Normandy are stuck. They've secured the beaches, but they're bogged down in a brutal, grinding battle of attrition against a determined German defense. The dense, high hedgerow country, known as the bocage, has turned into a meat grinder. Every field is a fortress, every hedgerow a machine gun nest. The Germans, masters of defense, are bleeding the Allies for every inch of ground. In the German high command, a sense of cautious optimism is growing. They believe they've contained the invasion. They think they can hold the line, wear the Allies down, and maybe even push them back into the sea. They were confident, maybe even arrogant. They expected victory, or at least a stalemate that would favor them. But they were about to be proven catastrophically wrong. One single, audacious Allied plan was about to change everything. This plan was codenamed Operation Cobra. It was the brainchild of American General Omar Bradley, and it was a massive gamble. The idea was simple in concept, but terrifyingly complex in execution, to use overwhelming air power to blast a hole in the German lines, and then pour thousands of tanks and troops through that gap before the enemy could react. The target was a narrow 7,000-yard front just west of the town of St. Lay. This wasn't just going to be a few bombs. This was going to be a carpet of destruction. The plan called for thousands of heavy and medium bombers to saturate this small area, pulverizing the elite German Panzer Lehr division holding the line. It was designed to not just break the front, but to completely vaporize it. On the morning of July 25th, the skies over Normandy turned black with Allied aircraft. Over 3,000 planes, from heavy B-17 flying fortresses to fighter bombers, unleashed hell upon the German positions. For hours, the ground shook as tens of thousands of bombs rained down. The effect was apocalyptic. Entire landscapes were transformed into a moonscape of craters. The elite Panzer Lehr, one of the most powerful armored divisions in the German army, effectively ceased to exist. Soldiers were vaporized, tanks were flipped over like toys, and command structures completely disintegrated. One German officer caught in the bombardment later described it as being bombed into madness. The psychological shock was just as devastating as the physical destruction. The German commanders, who just days before were confident of holding the line, were now faced with a gaping hole in their defenses. There was nothing there. It's just smoke, craters, and chaos. Through that hole surged the American 7th Corps, led by the aggressive General Lightning Joe Collins. Columns of Sherman tanks and infantry didn't just push forward. They exploded into the German rear. This wasn't the slow, grinding fight of the bocage anymore. This was a breakout. The German front didn't just bend. It shattered. What followed was one of the fastest advances of the war. Armored divisions fanned out, encircling entire German armies. The once static front collapsed into a full-scale rout. Within days, General George S. Patton's newly activated Third Army was unleashed. Racing across France with astonishing speed, bypassing strong points, and capturing vast territories, the German 7th Army was almost completely destroyed in what became known as the Falaise Pocket. The German High Command was in a state of shock. Their entire strategy for defending France had been built on holding a static line in Normandy. Operation Cobra didn't just break that line. It rendered the whole concept obsolete. They had expected a battle of attrition, but the Allies had given them a battle of movement and annihilation. From the launch of Cobra at the end of July to the liberation of Paris at the end of August, the strategic situation was completely reversed. The German dream of victory in Normandy had turned into a nightmare of total collapse. It was a stunning demonstration of combined arms power and a turning point on the Western Front, all because of one bold move that the Germans never saw coming. Thanks for watching. If you found this piece of history interesting, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories of the pivotal moments that shaped our world. See you next time.